Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and somebody sent me this. It is a photograph of a medallion, so it's even extra a little bit hard. I've already reduced it in size to like 2 inches. I've already converted it, or at least resampled it to 300 dots per inch. I normally trace it as grayscale, but it seemed to work better if I just use low quality image, and I'm not going to take the time to do it. I've done it right here. It's not really terrible. There's a few things that we can do to maybe make this work. It's going to be a lot of work. Some of this garbage is just medallion rub off or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to start off. This thing is, I haven't ungrouped it. It's less than 3 inches. So I've set my nudge factor on 3. I'm going to get the Smart Fill tool and I'm going to try to grab that right there and move it out of the way. So I've got part of the mountain and I've got that shape. I'm going to get the other part of the mountains and try to get this thing kind of look like what it looked like before. That's not too bad. You can look at it a little closer and we can do some tweaking. It looks like it's a little bit of an angle, but I think after we fixed it all, you could figure that out. So now we're going to do the leaves, kind of the same thing. So everything that it will smart fill, I'm going to nudge over. It's just different colors. And we can fix these leaves later. I'm actually going to do this. It's going to come in 2 parts, 2 different colors. I'm going to get the eagle. It's going to be in like 2 different colors at least. Well, you want to leave some of it open for the wood. So we need to grab these off colors and maybe the foot, which is going to include that line. And I think we got it. Doesn't look too bad, really, for engraving on wood. So we're going to tackle a couple of items at first, and then I'm going to try to make a couple of videos for this person. So what I'm going to do is, you know that this is broken into 2 different pieces. So I'm going to select it all right now, and I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to combine it. Now it's all one piece. Now I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to just delete all this interior stuff with the virtual segment delete key. I'm just going to swipe through. If you hold down your Alt key, you'll get a straighter line, and you need to do a curve line. And this is going to take just a little bit of time because there's fragments of line. And then we could possibly clean this up quite a bit more after we get rid of this. But what I'm going to do immediately after I get this cleaned up is I'm going to seal. Well, I probably don't even have to seal it. I was going to say with the Smart Fill tool, so it'll be all one piece, but it should be all one piece now. So I'm going to take this shape tool. I'm going to get rid of those nodes. And I'm really going to, you notice that they're a little bit different. So what I'm going to do now is nudge it over another couple inches, and I'm going to draw a 2-point line. I normally work in the center of the page, but because this isn't really centerable, so now I'm going to grab both of these and go CE. So that divided it in half. You just want to make sure that your banner part does not move. We're going to delete this out of the banner. And then we're going to tweak this a little bit, make it look a little bit better. Maybe even take the smoothing tool and kind of smooth it out just a hair. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now we're going to Control D and make a duplicate while holding the control button down, mimic that line. Now take away our line. I must have had 2 lines there. And let's take a rectangle just in case it leaks. Take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in, and it did not. Now I can nudge it right back. And now I need to take it and left click, right click. And I've already typed out the wordage that I took away. I will try. A couple of ways you could do this. I kind of picked Times New Roman for this. We'll see how it's going to work with text to path. See if it doesn't go crazy. And see, it's kind of crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of this. Control D, or hit the plus key on your keyboard, move over there. And then what I can do is I can take our text. I don't need that rectangle anymore. I can delete the rectangle. And I'm going to take two 2-point lines and just draw a line from like right there to right there. Take the virtual segment delete key and delete this other top line. And one more little section. Now I can, well, I need to do one more little section. You want to kind of have it all by itself. Now we can delete that line and delete this line. And then when you click on it, you can kind of tell if that's all you got is a line. Now we can take the shape tool and do a test on that line to see which way the arrow is going. And it's going in the right direction, so we're good. So I'm going to take and go text to path, text to path, and put it right on the path. And then I'm actually going to kind of scunch it up a little bit. I never have liked the way that text to path does, because it scrunches up those letters, I mean on the bottom of a letter. So we're going to take the shape tool and spread that I will try out a little bit, so it wouldn't look so bad. And we can actually, it's just because there's a dip right there, we can take the shape tool again and actually click on this L and bring that L down. Whoop, I've actually got two lines there. I don't know why there's a separate line there. Now I moved it, I want to move it back. So I'm going to nudge it over to the right, and we do have two lines there. Now I can nudge it back and it's all together. Now I could probably go and, it looks like we're to the left more now than I thought. We'll just have to do it when we get it back over there. And now I can nudge it back. Doesn't look worth a flip. But and you can see I must have hit something wrong and moved the line. So we're going to go to Object. And a lot of times you'll have to select all of it to break it apart, break the text apart. Just go ahead and get rid of that line. And then you can move your text. Whoop, you don't want to move that. If you ever move it, jump back and then go forward. Try to grab our text only. And let's edge it up a little bit. Then we can take the shape tool and grab just that L and move just that L. You can actually, what we can do now is we can go to Object and break the text apart. We can take just that L. So we're going to have to come from the bottom up just to grab that L. I'm going to have to break it apart again. Well, you know what it's doing? It's grabbing that line. You can see we got a curve. Let's go ahead and grab this again. Maybe I'll go to Object. Let's try converting it to a curve. Yep, now we can go and break that curve apart. So we want just that L. And normally you wouldn't have to do this if you, see, I'm having trouble grabbing it because of that line. But if you grab it, then we can rotate it, double click on the rotation and kind of move that L a little bit. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this part because I keep getting that line in it. If it ever starts doing that, you could always, that don't look too bad. We're way off on the try, it just doesn't look great. But I think it will in the long run. Now I'm going to nudge it up just a hair. Doesn't look too bad. So now let's work on the other parts, the leaves, and then we'll go back to the eagle and the centers. I always find it's easier if you take this and left click, no fill, right click and outline. You can actually see better and take your shape tool and just get rid of some of these nodes that are making it look kind of funny, too sharp. You don't want it perfect because a leaf is Mother Nature. Maybe get rid of those nodes. And really, you could probably use both leaves for the same place, but in this case, they are a little bit different. You could copy them and mirror them over, but maybe in this case, we're just going to fix them both. That doesn't look too bad. Now we can select it all and fill it backward right, and then I would take away your outline. So let's grab all this, left click, right click, and you can see some problems, but in the original, the leaves are kind of hollow in some places. So we're going to pretty much leave that. And you could spend a lot of work on this particular, on just the leaves and make it look more so like the original. Take the virtual segment delete key and cut through there. Whoop. One of the nodes is on top, so what you could do is take that node and delete it. And then you could just bring that node up and then curve it back over. And then that, I'd probably delete these 3 nodes. And like I said, just keep going back and forth to the original and see more what it looks like. And you could add, if all the leaves in the original are hollow, which most of them are, you could do that at this time. You could actually take that shape, or even better yet, take the smart fill in that shape, and then let's move it over, or let's actually move it down to that leaf. Hit the plus key on your keyboard. Plus key on the keyboard is much better than duplicate distance on this, because if you hit duplicate twice, then mirror it the other way and just put them up in here, and then you could always redo it. What I was going to say about the duplicate key, if you did this and then hit the duplicate key instead of the plus key, it's going to put it further down, equal spacing. Let's straighten up this leaf a little bit more. Now, stuff like this, there are people that could clean this logo up if it's a big customer or if it's a friend. That's all. If it's a friend and you don't have to have it perfect, just go with cleaning it up by yourself. If you seem lost by this video, there are people that could probably do this in just a couple, they could get back to you in a couple hours. Now, and for like $15. Left click, right click, because we're going to fill this in with the smart fill. That looks pretty good. And you could, you could play around with that as long as you want. We're going to go ahead and do the rest of the inside, and then I'm going to pause the video and make it a second one. So let's get the cannon. Nudge it over, nudge it over, nudge it over. I think that's like I don't know what that is. Looks like a surveying apparatus. And then again, you could clean all this up. You could start off with a different cannon. You could clean the wheels up. Like on this particular one, left click, right click. And what I would probably do in this case is I would take the virtual segment delete key and delete all this. And maybe take just this one and take this shape, go up to object and break the curve apart so you can get just that shape. And let's say the center of this wheel should be right in there, and I need to turn on my indexing lines. And then take that shape and Control D and make a duplicate, put the rotation to here, and just rotate it around. Now, it's not going to be perfect unless you hit the perfect center. But we can move these things out of the way, more. And it's going to look, to me, 100% better. And then look what happens when we fill it in with black. Much better. But you can spend a lot of time on that and make it quite a look better. Let's fix the cannon real quick. And then we're going to take a break in the video to finish it up. I think I can finish this in 2 videos. And then just take this and just take your nodes and put them inside the cannon. Once again, we have some double lines there, but what we're doing is we're going to make all this can in one piece and then take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. Quite a bit better than it was. Now, we're going to go and do the letters because in the, well, that would actually work. Let me put this over here. You know, all depends on what you want to look like. You know, you could have this outline thicker, or you could use reverse engraving on this pretty easily. Let's take our wheel, I will try. Let's nudge it down. Let's fill this all in with, no, we don't want to do that. What was I thinking? Let's go back. Let's go left click, right click, and then take the Smart Fill tool and fill in everything that's not there. And that's called reverse engraving. I would strongly suggest right-clicking no outline. It'll make it a little bit thicker when you don't have an outline. Just, yeah, I'll be able to finish this in the second video. So if you want to, if you're really interested, stay tuned for part 2. Hope that helped. Thank you for watching.